what does high availability even mean? Everyone talks about SLAs and people talk about 5 nines and such like. We thought it'd be interesting to just throw some numbers up as to what they were. To get people to think a little bit about what these numbers mean, because it's easy to say 9 nines SLA, but what the heck does that mean? Well, it means you're up for 99.999% of the time, but what does that even mean? Is that over the course of a year, or over the course of a day, or over the course of a 100-meter final? The answer is very different. So you need to know how you're being measured, and you need to know what the implications are if you miss. If you've got a very high SLA and you're doing a sporting event and it's a wet afternoon with nothing happening and you go down, no one's probably going to care, even though technically you breached your SLA. If you go down in the middle of the 100 meters final, people are going to care a lot, even if you don't breach your SLA. So there's a lot of things about watching how to measure. So if you look at the numbers, 90% per year, that's easy. You can be down for, 36 days, walk in the park. So that's no one here is interested in that. Right at the other end of the scale, if you're at 9 nines and you're being measured on a daily basis, you can be down for 0.86 seconds a day. That's not very long to handle any sort of error. You really don't have much time to respond there. Relating that to the 100 meters final, if you were down for 99.999, if you were up for 99.999 in the final, you'd only lose a millimeter, that's okay. But the reality is that isn't going to be what happens. Let's say it's your daily outage, and let's say you can get back in time, 0.86 for seconds, you've still missed the guy crossing the line. That's a shame. So you really need to know what these numbers mean. You need to know how they apply to your customers and what your customers mean when they ask for these numbers.
You also need to kind of think a little bit about how it applies to your suppliers. So, for example, it's very common with traditional systems just to back-to-back your SLAs. That's, I've got a big old enterprise SLA, and I'm going to talk to posh providers who are going to give me enterprise SLAs, and someone like Amazon, AWS, they've upped their SLA in the last couple of years because it had changed since the last time I looked, and they'll give you a 4 nines SLA now, which is great. Now, they're actually very explicit about how they measure that. They measure that over the course of a month, which means that they can be down for 4 minutes, 38, whatever minutes. It is, seconds. And then if they go a second over that, they will give you EC2 credits to the tune of a second. So if they're down for your 100 meters final, they'll go, we're terribly sorry about that, here's 12 cents. And that's probably not a very useful, so it used to be when we were building banking systems, you would, here's a big SLA, and here's another big SLA, and here's another big SLA, and you kind of chain them all together, and you say, hence big SLA, just doesn't hold anymore.